The worst thing that could ever happen to you is knowing you're right, but then you get into an argument with someone who knows how to speak, who knows how to articulate their words, who knows how to argue, but you don't. So they just come out on top. They come out on top, even though they're wrong, and you're actually the one who's correct. You want to kill yourself. You go back home and you think about it for days, for weeks, knowing damn well that you had facts, you had receipts, but you lost the argument. That is the worst thing ever.
You're now listening to a Bobby Johnson beat. Hey, my main bitch and my savage man, bitch. I can get too for. Rather hold me up on each of pink. I need to go.
Tune in to Too Much Media.
This is so. Oh, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Let's just get right into it. But I want to talk about today, like people who are really good at arguing and always beat you into an argument. Because the girl who was talking in the beginning of the video that I clipped in and talking about how that's the worst thing ever is so true. Like sometimes, like I'm someone who's like that. Like I'm on the opposite spectrum where it's like I'm the one who's really good at arguing. So if you argue with me, you better come prepared. And a lot of times, I always recommend to people who are trying to get into arguments with me, who I know, like I'm about to go Michael Jordan on their ass in the communication realm. I'm like, don't argue with people like me. When like you discover people like me who are really good at argument, avoid an argument at all costs. If that means walking away, stepping away, whatever you have to do, just don't argue because you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. I already know every sentence you're about to say next and every way you're gonna try to disprove me, and I'm prepared. I'm ready, okay? I know exactly what I'm about to say. I know exactly what I'm about to do. But on the other hand, I've also been caught on the other side where it's like I know I'm right about something and I know like the truth, what the real truth is, but I just don't have a way to get my point across and to make sure that it's clear that I'm correct, you know? Especially when the situation is one where I'm super frustrated with the person, but there's also like a barrier of communication in the realms of like respect or like, you know, because especially if you're asking, you get this, like sometimes you know how to read someone. Like you have someone dead to rights, but like there's this barrier of like it's your elder, or oh, there's a certain level of respect you have to give this person, or like something like that, where it's like because you're also frustrated and there's also this barrier of there's only a certain level of vocabulary you're allowed to use with this person, now you're stuck. Like you don't know what to do because it's like, okay, I need to speak to them very carefully. I can't just say anything out the side of my mouth because it's gonna come off wrong. But at the same time, I low key need to tell them about themselves in order to get my point across. Like they need to be like the truth must be told. And in that situation and in those times, I've learned that the only thing slash the best thing you could do is just call it. You just gotta call it. You just have to say to yourself, you know what? It is what it is. They won this round, and I'll live to see another day. Because sometimes saying what you want to say is a result of you not living to see another day. Okay? Like, do you want to live? What do you rather have? Women's argument or to live? Like, it just gets like that. And another solution I found to get around this too is sometimes I'll just write down what I want to say, like later. Like I'm gonna just write it because if I write it, I can take the time to, you know, show receipts, give examples, have a thesis, circle back around, like, and I won't be interrupted too, because sometimes some people, that's how they beat you in arguments. They just constantly interrupt you, and if you're the type of person who doesn't like talking in that way, where it's like, okay, we're not going to just sit here and keep interrupting each other, like, so this argument is not going to last long. I find that writing people is a better way to do that. Now, if you're someone who's worried about arguing with me and then you write me and I don't like how you started off the writing, I'm not even reading it. I'm not reading it. You better come to me correct, okay? I'm not reading anything that feels like you're writing the same way you would speak to me, and which is why we don't speak, right? We don't speak because you say little stuff like this that take me out of the argument. So if you write like that, I'm not reading like that. So I mean, communication it's really a complex thing, man. Like it really has so many intricacies to it of like how best to get your message across to the receiver and how best to like make sure that when you get your message across, the resulting next steps is going towards what you're aiming for. It's like I don't know, man. I don't know. What else do I have to talk about today? Oh my God, I just watched the Breakfast Club interview of Jonathan Majors where he like, discusses his new movie. I guess he has a movie called Magazine Dreams where he plays a bodybuilder who's like I'm like mentally unstable and stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know, when Jonathan Majors talks, it's just like something so off about him to me. Like, it's something so weird to him about me, but I also do feel like the weirdness could be like that sense of like fear he has in the public where it's like he's worried any small thing he says could be misrepresented or misunderstood and taken in a negative light, so he's just careful with his words. But that carefulness that he has with his words also breeds a lot of mistrust in me, where I'm just like, I don't know, I don't trust anything you kind of say. Like, it feels as though to me like you'd say anything to seem, um, like to seem to for me to see you in a good light. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't know. I just don't really like people who are overly playing into their mask. Like I do understand that like when we interact with people, especially people we don't know on like day-to-day terms, like we have to put on a mask and kind of speak to people um in a like carefully and not always directly. But it's like I don't like when people overly play into that mask, like to a level we're all wearing one, but it's just like when I can like really, really feel like you're just here trying to say anything to make sure that you're seen well. I don't know. Even the stuff that you're telling the truth about, I'm like, there's a little tinge of me is like, but if that comes out to not be true, like I knew it first. I don't know. Like I'm always expecting something you said to come out to be a lie. Like I just don't. I can't with Jonathan Majors. Like, and you know what? It's really sad because even during the interview, Jess brought up Lovecraft Country. Lovecraft Country, which is a TV show he did a couple years back, that's like mixed with like historical. It's like a historical drama mixed with sci-fi. So it's like back in the day, slave times or like Jim Crow times, mixed with them being able to like travel across space and time and aliens and like all sorts of stuff. Like it's really such a good show. Like oh my god, it's such a good show. The guy who plays Omar in The Wire is also in it, and he does a great job. Jonathan too. Jonathan did so good in that show. And then Jussie Smollett's sister, Journey Smollett, is also in the show, and it's just a star-studded cast with a great script, a great premise. It's such a good show. And Jess was asking her in the Breakfast Club, was asking Jonathan in the Breakfast Club interview, has he seen that show? Because he was talking about how whenever he does a show or a movie, he never watches it. And he said, yeah, like that show in total is probably like 10 hours. I've maybe seen 30 minutes of it. I'm like, what? That show is, oh my God, that show made me really fall for the Jonathan Majors campaign when it originally came out. Like, you can't deny his talent when you see like a show like that. You're like, oh wow, like he's good. Like in this acting game stuff, like no, he's up there, potential of like those really big names that we discussed. And then everything happened, he beat that white lady up and everyone turned on him. I was just like, dang, I immediately knew Jonathan had done it because they showed those text messages where he was like gaslighting her and she was like, begging him like, I'll do whatever you want me, I'll say whatever you want me to say and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, no woman who's not getting beat talks like that. I'm so sorry. No woman who's standing on business and, wouldn't, doesn't let you play with them talks like that. Like, there's a level of you let him talk to you any type of way, type of mindset you have to even text like that. Like, if you're really, like, the type of woman who, like, he's not playing with you and you guys are, like, in an equal-based relationship, you would just tell him about himself. You would never say, I'll say whatever you want me to say. You're not saying that. That doesn't even, like, the frequencies are not the same in that type of, talk and vocabulary. It's just like, no, I'm not saying that to you. What? Like, huh? Like, oh, we can come up with what we want to say as a duo, but, oh, just let me know and I'll say whatever you want to say. Yeah, he be throwing you around the room. But where was I even going? Yeah, so I knew he had done it right away when it came out and stuff. Like, when I saw those messages, I was just like, But, like, now, post all that, and now he's trying to make his comeback and stuff, it's like there's this certain layer of, do I want to say demasculated, he seems? Like, and I don't think he's genuinely, in real life, demasculated. Like, I don't think he walks around acting like this soft and, like, touch him and he might cry about this emotional stuff on a day-to-day. Like, I don't think he actually behaves like that. Like, if I met Jonathan today and it was real life and I talked to him in a room where there was no cameras and he could just act like himself, I am sure there's still plenty of masculinity and, like, a level of sureness in himself. And this is why I tell you, if you watch Lovecraft Country, he's the truth. He can act his butt off. He's great. Like, he's great. And that's why I'm like, I don't believe him when he gets on the Breakfast Club and he starts acting like, yeah, that's my love. Brother. Like, and this, like, softness that he speaks with, it's just like, of course I know he can touch that at points, but I just don't believe that's his true character, and that's his true way of being, of, like...
Experience. When that came out, did you ever look at any of that stuff and say, okay, some of that might be justified? I might have been an asshole in that situation.
That article,
They were talking about from college days, so you're not the same man.
Yeah, well, there's some... how to come at this one? Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, watch this. As far as... I'm just gonna state some facts, okay? About school. I was North Carolina School of the Arts, and I was at Yale. I was at Yale. I was on a full scholarship. We all were. I was also on a Lloyd Richards scholarship. Our brother Lloyd Richards, running August Wilson Camp, all that stuff. Beautiful man. Rest in peace. I was a recipient of that. When that information happened, when that started being said,
really, really soft and stuff, but I think that he's so talented as an actor that he can turn it on and keep it on for long enough to seem like that's how he is. Like, I believe he has crafted a public Jonathan Majors persona that he plans to keep up with for the near future, at least until he's like an old actor. And, once you have old age, you have this kind of barrier of release where you can kind of be quite frank and blunt and not care what people think. Maybe he'll turn it on. turn that on later, like Denzel currently, like Denzel don't care. Denzel says whatever Denzel wants to say. Denzel tells people he doesn't care if he doesn't care. Denzel tells you what he cares about when he does care. Like, you can tell Denzel doesn't care. There's no script, you know? So, and that comes with old age, where it's like, now I'm kind of at the age where I don't care, like, what you guys think. Honestly, no one can take away this career that I've built for myself at this point. And I feel like maybe later Jonathan will fall more into that once he has like the career stamps that he wants to hit. But right now, I don't know. I don't believe anything he says when he says his name is Jonathan Majors. Now, when he says his name is Killian whatever, like that's from his new movie. His name is Killian in the movie. I'm sure I'm gonna watch that movie and say I believe that that's Killian. I believe that that's how. Yeah, like I believe that Jonathan's that talented. Whatever role he plays, it'll be quite believable. But I don't believe that the role he's playing as Jonathan Majors is Jonathan Majors. I don't believe him. That's the one role he hasn't been able to convince me of, you know. It's like, I just believe he crafted this public persona that he's walking around with. Like, it's just weird because, you know why I also feel that? Like, it's just unnatural the way he acts. He doesn't act very natural. He laughs at things that he shouldn't laugh. Like, his laugh timing is very awkward. He's always seems like he's waiting for a cue to smile or laugh, or a cue to be like in on a joke that he doesn't need to be in on, you know? Like there's a certain realness that when you talk to people where it's like certain stuff they just don't joke about. Like you say something and they're just like, that's not funny. Like you don't think every single thing Charlemagne says is funny. I'm sorry, Charlemagne is not that funny. Like I know, like for example, Jonathan kept saying like, you know, you're an actor. Like there's a certain level of like he's constantly trying to breed acceptance and like we're together on this. Like every single time he's asked a question, he'll always be like, you know, you get it because we're all in the public eye here. We're all in the public eye here. You know, you get it because you have the craft. Like, you're a comedian, which is similar to acting in that way. You're a comedian, like, which is similar to me. Yeah, you get it because you're in the public eye. And, oh, yeah, like, we've all been in these spaces. We've all been in these times and these like, he's always trying to make sure that everyone feels as though him and them are same, you know, which is like, cool. We're all human, you know, like, you know, we are same in a sense, but it's like in a real life conversation when you talk to people are not always trying to make you feel like you and them are the exact same to the level which Jonathan does. Like, I feel as though that's a safety tool that he uses to kind of try to make them feel like they're the same to him constantly, so they won't, you know, punish him for his past I wanted to use the word infidelities, but I mean he was being infidelity. He was doing infidelities, which is what caused him to do what he does, but that's not the main problem what he did. The main problem what he did was there's a word I'm looking for that I can't find, but his discretions, let's say. Like, he's kind of trying to make them feel as though we're the same, so they'll be lighter on him, you know? Of like, yeah, like, we get it. They say stuff about us that's not true, too. But what they said about you, Jonathan, was true. You did it. You did do what people were saying, so you're acting, you want them to feel the same, so they don't feel as though they have to punish you as much and they can forgive you as much. But it's like, if they don't, it's earned. You actually did do what people may or may not be mad at you about, you know? So it just feels very disingenuous when I see Jonathan talk. You know what it reminds me of, too? That new show on Netflix is called Delinquent or something, Adolescence or something like that, where it's like this little boy ends up committing a homicide against his female classmate because she doesn't want to date him. And it's like going into, it's called Adolescence. That's on Netflix. And because she doesn't want to date him, and I guess he had been red pill brainwashed, and a lot of the boys his age group and stuff like that had been red pillized, and that's kind of what they're talking about in the film. But when you watch that show, it's like the little boy is kind of like being interviewed by this therapist, and she's a female or whatever, and you can see like this level which he knows that what he's done is wrong, and he continues to deny that he did it at all. And he keeps like when he's talking to the female therapist, like kind of trying to, butter her up and make sure that she, forgives him and sees good in him and all these kind of stuff. And when she won't give him that reassurance and she won't say, yes, you're okay, you're not a bad person, this, that, and the third, and like kind of give him that comfort that he's looking for, he spazzes on her and he starts acting crazy, which kind of proves to them that he did do what they know he did, because they have him on recording. They know he did it. Similar to, okay, and they know he did it, but it's just like, did he know, like, was this a mental health issue that caused him to do it, or was this him knowing exactly what he was doing and he's just wrong? And when he spazzes out on the therapist, they kind of confirm that he does know what he's doing is wrong. He does know everything like that, and he gets mad when the therapist won't, like, kind of soothe him. And it's just like, you don't deserve to be soothed. You just committed a homicide. Now, obviously, this case is not that drastic, but it's similar in the way of, like, using the behavior you know will be best received to try to manipulate people into forgiveness when you've done nothing to genuinely gain our forgiveness. What has Jonathan Majors done other than he parade around Megan Good to get public interest back, So now, because he knows that, he's just playing the super soft role, kind of trying to wait for us to all forgive him, which I'm not mad at him, nor do I forgive him. I don't actually feel any way about the situation. To me personally, it's a personal situation. That's his issue. Like, that's his, whatever. I don't know. Like, I'm just not that invested in the story. Like, either way, like, it's like the similar thing of, like, if he goes to jail, well, he did it, so they put him in jail. Like, what? Okay, I'm not going to be outside the jail protesting, but if he doesn't go to jail, I'm also not going to be standing around like, I can't believe you guys didn't punish Jonathan Majors to the level of which punishment, like, I don't have a vote for how much he should be punished. I don't have, like, a say. I don't care, really. But all I'm trying to say is his behavior is manipulative, and I don't believe that this is the way he acts, because it's just like, there were so many points where Charlamagne was making weird jokes like he does, which I feel like if you were in your full self, you would just be like, Charlamagne, like, that's not a funny joke. Like, I don't like that joke. Like, like, for example, Charlamagne does this pause thing, like, which, whatever, I find pause funny sometimes. I'd be like, that's funny, pause. Like, I say pause too once in a while, but I don't like when people OD on pause, where it's like every little small thing, pause, pause, pause. And that's one thing Charlamagne does. He be ODing the pause. Every once in a while he does it right, and it's funny, but sometimes it just be like, that one wasn't that funny. Like, he brings up, like, Jonathan Major brings up Jason Lee, and how Jason Lee is the reason why he's even able to have this comeback of being able to be on our screens again with this new movie, Magazine Dreams. And when he brings up Jason Lee, Charlamagne says pause. And he laughs with Charlamagne and says, haha, yeah, thanks, brother, making sure, like, I'm straight, like, I didn't say, something off or whatever. And I'm just like, why are you thanking Charlamagne for saying pause when you're talking about Jason Lee literally saving you? He literally brought you back from obscurity. We were never going to hear the name Jonathan Majors again. He decided to let you onto his platform, interview you, put you in contact with people he knows, help you out, do all sorts of things for you. And then now when Charlamagne's making a low-blow joke of saying pause, you're letting him use Jason as his little tool to get a little, like, immature joke off. I just felt like in that moment, if he was acting in self, he would have been like, calm down, like, relax, like, not too much on Jason. I'm literally telling you how he helped me, you know? But because he's kind of in a blurred state where he's just trying to make sure everyone is happy with him, he's going to laugh with Charlamagne and add in on it. Like, huh? I mean, look, if I was Jason, I'm not saying I would take it personal, but there's a level which I would take it personal, like, you have no backbone. Like, I don't even trust you out in public. It just feels like Jonathan has no public persona other than kissing ass. Like, it's constantly a game of how I'm perceived. And me personally, I'm not a big fan of people who behave like that. I just don't feel as though I can trust you. Because the minute a funny joke to my expense comes that can keep away and distract from people talking about what you've done and what you got going on, you take that opportunity instead of being like, oh, you can dog on me, that's fine, but relax on my friends. It's like, no, you know those type of people where they're like so insecure and so like worried that people are gonna point out stuff that they got going on, that when a joke is made at anyone else's expense, they're just so relieved it's not them. They're fine with going with it, and you're just kind of like, oh, you can't be trusted. Like, you'll laugh and kiki and join in anytime you feel unsafe, you know? It's just, I don't know. That's another part of the reason why it's just like, it's kind of like a no for me when it comes to Jonathan Majors. It's like, I don't even really want to hear what he has to say, because it's like, it has so many layers of, like, biasness on it that I just can't even take his talking points seriously. I feel like he should be one of those actors and, like, those celebrities who doesn't give us access to him. Like, he just, like, he, like, stays really obscure, you know? He just, like, minds his business. We barely see him. On some Leonardo thing. Like, when do we see Leonardo? Never. We don't see that man. He be off in the sunset with his 22-year-old girlfriend minding his business. And I love that for him. Like, people be dogging on him, but we don't even have access to him to truly dog on him. He don't give it to us. And I feel like Jonathan should be like that. You know? He should be like that. Megan, too. They should both just live their lives, be happy. If they claim they're happy, but they're always in our face. I feel like if you're happy, y'all should just go somewhere and do that. Be happy. Like, leave us out of it. I hate when people who are trying to convince us that they're happy so much are always in our face trying to tell us they're happy. You said you're happy. Why does it matter if we know you're happy? Be happy then. Lord, leave us out of it. I be hating that. Like, you swear you happy, but you always in my face. Like, damn. But yeah. I don't know.
And Michael, he came up and said hello to Megan in the clip that they had online. He picked her up. The clip they had online, you were just standing there and people was like, y'all know he was salty. But there was the part of y'all shaking hands.
Because he didn't speak to you too. But
Oh, I remember this. I remember this. I love that pretty man. Look at him. 3 eyes, just lifting up my wife. It's all good. No, that's my brother. That's my brother. Yeah, I mean, what
appropriate way to my wife. Well, I mean,
they have a beautiful friendship. They have all these things, you know, like, and respectfully, because like we have real life and then we have what everyone says about real life, right? And as you all know, we have to navigate between those two things, right? If the things people say about our life actually make their way into our lives, then the people have to be mature enough to address it. And brother Ely, who I've seen many times, we did a workshop together at Dion's place. Michael Ely was like, "Hey, bro, my bad." You know what I mean? And I was like, "Respect, respect." You know what I mean?
I was like, "This man trained for Creed. All of them blows, Michael's done."
That's all love. It's all love. Yeah.
I have a question.